Today we're tying the Squimp bonefish pattern on the Allen SW002 hook. We'll also be using a set of brass barbell eyes. Start your thread right about between the hook point and hook barb. I'll be using craft fur to create not only the tail of the fly but also the wing, so start with a clump of craft fur about the length of the hook shank. Tie in your tail of craft fur right where the hook starts to bend. Once I've locked it down, I'll trim away the butts of the craft fur at an angle and then wrap over them. Next, I'm going to tie in a couple sets of rubber legs, one on each side of the fly. Once I've tied in those rubber legs, I'm going to push them back and just put down a couple wraps to trap them in the backward position. Now, I'm going to tie in some tan ultra chenille and then follow it with some copper wire. One of the defining elements of the Squimp is how the barbell eyes sit further back on the hook shank rather than right behind the hook eye. So in this case, I'm going to tie the barbell in right about 2/3 of the way down the hook shank. Then I'll simply lock it in with figure 8 wraps. Once I've done that, I'm just going to bring my thread to back just behind the eye. Now I'll make touching wraps of the chenille, bringing it all the way forward to where my thread is stopped, tie it down, and follow it with the copper wire. I'm going to tie in a wing of craft fur so it reaches the same length as the tail does. Now before I trim any of my wing material, I'm going to add in 2 more sets of rubber legs. I'm also going to take 2 strands of Krystal Flash and double it in to add a bit of extra flash as well as working as antenna. These I'll tie in about the same length as the wing. For the final step, I'm just going to trim that extra material down and I'm going to whip finish right here. This will create that nice sort of shrimp-like tail as well as allowing the fly to push a bit of water and flutter a bit more on the way down. I'm going to trim these rear legs so they're just longer than the tail, and then I'll trim these front legs so they're right about at this color transition here. As you can see, you end up with an X shape to the legs in the front, and you still have some nice length to the legs in the back. You can actually leave those a bit longer if you'd like, and you can trim them on the water. And there you have the Squimp pattern. Rather than dropping like a jig, instead it'll flutter a bit more through the water column thanks to the placement of the weight.